Hi, welcome to this Excel tutorial video, and today I'm going to try and demonstrate the use of mid and the use of left and right when trying to extract pieces of data from within a cell. So mid is a function that allows you to get text from within a larger piece of text in a cell. So let's imagine I want to get this ID number from cell A2. I can use mid, and I'll show you how mid works. So first of all, because it's a function, we do equals, type mid, there it is as a function, start with the brackets, and it needs three parameters. The first parameter is which cell are we looking at that we're going to extract text from. So in this case it's cell A2. Then it says, okay, where is the starting position of the text you want to extract? And I want to extract this ID number. And it begins at the fifth character. So the first character is I, then D, then colon, then space, then 4. So the fifth character is where my beginning is. So I'll put 5. And then how many characters? What's the length of the characters that I want to return? Well, the ID in this example is 8 characters. So if I put 8, end brackets. Now notice, it's not saying from position 5 to position 8. It's saying from position 5 and 8 characters. So if I press enter, there is the ID. But if I drag this down, it works for some of them, but it doesn't work for all of them. So you see here, it's, well, in fact, it that doesn't look too bad. It's returned 7 characters in a space, but here it's missing the 4. So if I were to change this to be 9 characters instead of 8, it doesn't seemingly change anything at the beginning of the first one, but actually it's added a space. And if we go down here, I'll show you that it's added a 4 here, so that's good. But now it's added a / because the 9th character is a / from position 5. So what we want is some way of the logic to be dynamic. So it can say, yeah, take me from here, but not necessarily 8 characters. Take me from this position here to the ending position here. So the way we do that is we use something called FIND. So if I show you an example of FIND, what FIND does is it finds a piece of text from within a larger piece of text or within a cell. So if I do equals find and start brackets, unlike mid that asked for the cell I was interested in first, find wants to know what I'm looking for as the first parameter. So let's imagine I'm looking for space / space, this position here. And then put a comma in, and then it says, okay, from where, which cell? And A2, end brackets, and then it says, it returns number 13. So what find does is it returns the position of a piece of text that you state here in the first parameter. So space / space begins at position 13. So what we can do is we can say, using find, we can say equals mid. I'm interested in here. Instead of saying start at position 5, what we'll say is find, and we'll say let's look for ID : space, which is this indicator, you know, the text prefixing the ID number. So we're looking for ID excuse me, ID : space, end brackets, from within A2. Now that will return the number 5 in this case, and that's good. That's kind of what we want. So I will end brackets on the find. But what that's going to do, actually, I'm sorry, I'm incorrect. That's going to return position 1 because ID colon space starts position 1. We don't want it to be position 1, we want it to say position 5. So what we need to say is, get me the position of ID colon 1, but add 4 to it. And we add 4 because there are 4 characters in ID colon space. And that will return us 5, which is what we're looking for. Then we say the next mid parameter was how many characters. So in this example here, we said 8 characters. But in this example, we don't want to state how many characters. We want it to be worked out. So what we're going to say here is find again. And we're going to find space / space from cell A2. Hold on. Why is that typed? There you go. And we know, because we've done that here, that it's going to return 13. Then we're going to say -5, because that's taking off the initial 4 characters, and also this starts at position 13, but actually we're not interested in 13. It's the character before that that is part of the sequence we're interested in. So we need to take 4 off for the amount of characters here, and a further 1 off because our starting position here is 1 character after the ending position of the data we want. I hope that makes sense. If I end bracket there, now if I drag this down here, excuse me for sniffing, we now get the correct values. We can also use left and right. So what left does is it gets the leftmost part of a cell. So if we say equals left, and we say 12, sorry, we say from A2 show me the first 12 characters. And if we say right, same sort of thing, A2, the rightmost 12 characters. So you can see here that that is the first 12 characters and that is the last 12 characters. Now we can use that to get the data we need. So what we can say here is we can say, okay, first of all, instead of saying get me left 12, we're going to say get me left find space from A2. Now, it's not obvious, but that's returned a space at the end of that. Okay, so I'm actually going to do -1 because you won't see a difference, but it's important that we do it. So right now we've got the first characters up to the character before space / space. And if I drag that down, you'll see that it differs depending on the size of the ID. And now we've got that, we can wrap that round and say, okay, get me the right of this result. So it's going to go from the right hand inward. Get me the right characters from this result. And we could cheat here a little bit, because I know that it's always going to be ID colon space. So we can just say get me the right of these, the right of the result of this left function, and the amount of characters I want is the length of the result of that function -4. If I do that, hold on a minute. That's better. Oh, an extra bracket I had on there. So -4, because we know that ID colon space is 4 characters. So the result of this -4 from the right hand side should return us just the ID. And if I run that down here, it does that. So you can use mid. if you know if everything's going to be the same, like this, the first 5 results here, they're all the same with regard to the ID size, you can just use mid and do hard coded numbers, or you can do as I have here, mid and find, or you can do as I have here, a combination of left and right and len, and also find as well. I'll put these extracts of code in the description of the video. I hope it made sense. I hope it was helpful. Thanks very much for your time. See you next time.